Hey, did you see what I found? Oh.
Wow, look at that. It's pretty. It's all white.
No, it's light gray.
No, it's white.
I see it as light gray.
Hey, come take a look. It's white. I wouldn't say it's completely white. No, but it's not black. Between black and white, what color is it?
It's true that it's light. Yeah, it's more like white.
Wait, but compared to white, you can see it's not really white. It has no value, that so-called white. No. Besides, here everyone agrees that it's white, right?
Wow, all these colors. Psychedelic. Man, keep going.
Get out of here now. Except for a few oddballs, everyone agrees it's white, like the famous thesis, the...
Studies prove it. It's white, but...
Nonsense. Oh, yes, it's white as my...
Canette.
It's white. Oh, yes, it's white. I didn't see it well at first, but...
No, it's not white. It's actually more like black.
You may wonder what kind of silly metaphor this is, but it shows a phenomenon we see daily. Some dehumanized humanists impose a rigid, binary worldview, ignoring nuance and unintentionally strengthening their opponents.
I wanted to be a white sheep even less than a black cat.
If you still don't see my point, just look at journalism today. I'll give you a simple, non-controversial example. The Great Replacement. Poof! So, to balance things out, I dressed like this. A form of submission to globalization and a little kawaii desu touch, just trying to save my monetization. No! Subtitles by Diaz.
Immigration. This proves there is no great replacement.
Can we really provide proof of the non-existence of something? No, I don't think so. Can we prove that God doesn't exist? Subtitles ST 501. Or Bigfoot, or Casimir.
There. But if he goes straight into a digression, this video is going to be a real glooby bulga. We
can, however, show that the arguments of those who believe in their existence are false or at least insufficient to prove anything.
What is the great replacement? It's an idea created by the far right. The French population is supposedly being replaced by immigrants coming in large numbers from Africa.
Hello, I'm Lapinten and I'll try to give you some additional information. So the great replacement, it's replacement of a country by immigrants, but not always by Africans. At the end of the 19th century, it would have been by Jews and Armenians. Today, it's more varied.
An Institut Français d'Opinion Publique survey found 48% of French people believe it.
48%? I didn't realize there were so many racists in France. None are in my circle. Feels like manipulation. There, if we listen to them, we think that 48% of French people believe they're going to be replaced by Africans. But when I looked up the survey, the question was more like, do you think immigration is a political project to replace one civilization with another? Deliberately organized by our political, intellectual, and media elites? And that it should be stopped by sending these populations back to where they came from? The question was about the political, cultural, and civilizational vision. But here, you can clearly feel that they're trying to steer us directly toward a racialist great replacement. Oh!
We're really going to have to block the far right. You
agree that it's not exactly the same thing. And the problem is, almost no one is going to check the poll. Also, they don't share the link, they keep it private. I'm not sure about immigration yet, but our media elites are clearly organizing something. Deception.
The problem is that's false.
Proving the real survey question is false wouldn't be easy. I suppose they'll just try to dispute the one they're forcing on us.
The French population is supposedly being replaced by immigrants coming massively from Africa.
Easier, but not that simple, huh? Because it's enough for native French people to decrease. I think that's the case, and at the same time, most immigrants would have to come from Africa for it to be true. Even if it's happening slowly, otherwise we would have had to massively replace afterwards. But well, we'll see how they manage. They seem intent on addressing the great replacement, like Renaud Camus. Don't know him? He's Renaud Camus. That's normal because they don't want to give him any publicity. That's why they talk about it all the time.
First misconception, France accepts more immigrants than other countries.
Vague statement. As written, it implies France admits more immigrants on average than other countries. Otherwise, it would mean there are more immigrants than in all other countries.
France has 5.9 million foreign immigrants, just 9% of its population. That's a lower rate than most countries. In the United Kingdom and the United States, they make up 13% in Germany, 15%, and in Switzerland, 23%.
Numbers always say what you want them to say, and comparing with only 4 other countries is still a bit weak. You can prove the opposite by showing France ranks 7th for most immigrants among 200 plus countries. And even putting that into perspective with the population, where France is the 20th most populated, it's still in the higher range. So the misconception is
Actually true.
especially since the Great Replacement theory isn't limited to France. It generally concerns the entire European continent. So, comparing our stats with England, Germany, or Switzerland is pointless. It just shows that the percentage is also very high in the rest of Europe.
Second misconception, Muslims are going to become the majority.
Another vague statement. Based on earlier sentences, we know they're referring to France, but is it about the near or distant future?
Reality?
A Jean Jaurès Foundation study found only 3% of respondents, or about 1.8 million people in France, identify as Muslim.
Wait, but they're answering a question about change over time with a single fact from one moment? That makes no sense. It's clear Islam is a growing religion. Muslims should be the majority in the world in about 50 years. In France, it should take much, much longer. But logically, and according to the statistics, indeed, it will happen one day. So, this false statement is true if we keep going this way, of course. Because in a generation or two, it might relapse. Islam is still a religion, just a bit behind. Ah, that must be inbreeding.
Baby, blasphemy, blah, 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 blah.
And only the 100 religions category is growing faster than Muslims in France and is expected to become the majority before 2050.
Among these 3% of Muslims, about 1/3 go to the mosque once a month.
That's the little extra. They always try to downplay it. We don't know what it is, but we don't care since it's useless.
Third misconception. There are a lot of mosques in France. There are 2,400 mosques in France.
2,400 is a lot. Maybe we should do more to lower it.
Fewer than 100 have a minaret.
Ah, there you go. What's the connection? The minaret is just architecture. It's like saying there are 42,000 churches in France, of which only 200 have double bell towers and only 13, unfortunately, have handicapped accessible restrooms. So, the minaret, though originally Christian, is now linked to the call to prayer. Watches make it unnecessary now. Trusting a watch is almost a sin. I downloaded Muslim Pro and use iPhones.
42,000.
There are 17 times fewer mosques than churches now. Today. A century ago, there were about as many churches as there are now. At that time, there were no mosques. The first in mainland France was built in 1926. In 1970, there were about 100. So an elder who tells you
There are many more mosques in France now than when I was young.
is right. In the past 50 years, we've built 2,300 mosques and 644 churches when
I say the landscape is changing, though people call me an old fool.
it needs perspective since Muslims needed more worship spaces. Today, there are still more churches per Christian than mosques per Muslim.
If I say I've observed climate change over the decades, that's the Honorable Dean speaking.
Can still put that into perspective. Because today in France, there are more mosques per number of Muslims than there are churches per Christians in countries where Islam is the majority.
But it's not France that's at fault on that side. Fourth misconception. Immigrants are not from Europe.
This statement is vague and lacks supporting facts. Moreover, we can infer that this means immigrants are not mostly from Europe. Yeah, only an idiot would say all immigrants are not from Europe, that none of them come from Europe. Especially with our open borders.
Reality, the backgrounds are very diverse. In 2015, among the 232,000 foreigners who entered France, 84,000 came from the European Union. Europeans account for over 1/3 of new arrivals.
So, 2/3 are not from Europe? So it's true immigrants aren't from Europe, but do they really think we'll be fooled if they just reverse the answer? They really take us for fools!
Sorry, I'm stepping a little out of my role.
Well, they're not originally from Africa either. There are people from all over the world, but mostly they're not originally from Europe. The rest is similar, and questions 5, 6, and 7 are basically the same. I'll skip to number 7.
Seventh misconception. The Great Replacement will happen because immigrant women have a higher fertility rate. Immigrant women have higher fertility rates. 2.73 children for immigrants and 3.5 for women from the Maghreb. For women without immigration ties, the average is 1.86 children.
Okay, so the idea is going to be to show that higher fertility has no connection with a potential great replacement.
But for many demographers like Hervé Lebras, the difference is too small to significantly affect the national average.
What's this appeal to authority? For many demographers, though not all, that's the case. Maybe?
Maybe we listen to others more, or they got fired.
The difference is too small to matter. That's it. That means it still has some impact. So we see that fertility rate alone can't justify a great replacement. But with everything else?
Maybe that triples the impact and...
Again, we need to be nuanced. Nearly 40% of immigrant mothers have children with a non-immigrant father.
Immigrant daughters who become mothers have the same fertility rate, 1.85 children, as women without immigrant backgrounds.
We had to wait until the end for arguments. I didn't get it, but yes, there is assimilation. And the fertility rate decreases over generations. Maybe it should have been explained that the fertility rate has no direct link with religion. That's their topic, but it's actually about a country's economic level. I'll give you that directly. Immigrants, those whose arrival is contested by some of the French, well, they come from countries that are poorer than France. Because, let's be honest, people don't come to France for the atmosphere. For example, powerful Muslim countries like Iran, Turkey, and the United Arab Emirates have lower fertility rates than France. That's why, after 1 or 2 generations in France, the fertility rate evens out.
Children in France, they're unbearable. We have to adapt.
There you go, end of the analyzed video. So I know maybe it left you a little unsatisfied. Were you expecting a video about the great replacement? And in the end, the topic covered was more about journalism 2.0, the journalism you need. That journalist who really thinks we're idiots. Yeah! And just so we can understand and keep up, well, he oversimplifies everything. The thing is, often, well, their explanation ends up being completely wrong.
Come here, let's work on this. So what is it?
The great replacement? I don't know. It's the same as always. Show that regular France is as racist as possible, but not us. Oh no, we have nothing to do with that. Plus, they often distort reality without asking questions, and we don't care. They often speak without knowledge or logic, leaving only 2 possible responses to their work. Either eat without thinking.
BFM television.
Either you have a minimum of common sense, and then you start asking yourself questions, well, even where there wasn't necessarily a reason,
And now, honestly, since I saw that video, well, I believe a little more in the Great Replacement theory, insidiously orchestrated with a masterful hand by Islam.
Honestly, they could probably convince me the Earth is flat.
Oh, by the way, if you're interested in an episode about flat Earth, let me know. Anyway, you should never let yourself become dependent on information without letting
your brain do the thinking. What is clear and increasingly evident is that immigration is a project deliberately organized by our political, intellectual, and media elites.
Why is that?
Alright, just for you. In the next video, I'll do a minute papillon on the Great Replacement. If you don't want to miss it, subscribe. But didn't you just say we shouldn't rely on information? So isn't subscribing a little... Pandarusha? No, it's...
PARADOXA.